Hey folks, gonna do a quick unboxing slash storage video for Thunder Road Vendetta. This is the Maximum Chrome edition. You can see the spot UV ray on the box here. This is the latest game from Restoration Games. This is the company that takes older games and breathes new life into them. This is a rework of a previous game called Thunder Road. Um, and it's essentially the vehicle driving portion of Mad Max on in a game essentially. Um, Plays 2 to 5. Um, you do need one of the expansions to play that 5 player though. So the base game without the big rig or the final 5 expansion is only 4 players. So, that being said, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. We got some plastic bags that are not needed with the insert. So, first thing you have here is a rulebook. This is the specific rulebook for the Maximum Chrome version. The base game has a different rulebook. This rulebook is just a compilation of all the expansions. The Maximum Chrome edition is basically everything for the game thus far. So that's the Big Rig expansion, the Final 5 motorcycle expansion, all the extra cards and that type of stuff. So pretty decent rule book. I have read through it. It is easy to follow. It goes over everything, makes everything pretty clear. It looks good. Everything's spelled out. What goes with what expansion or in the base game, etc. So decent rule book. Top tray. We'll go ahead and take the lid off here. So there's a clear plastic lid that goes on top. Get that off of there so it's a little easier to see. You're going to have, in this top tray, you're going to have the 4 players. So you have the light blue, the orange, the white, and the green. They each come with their set of movement dice. You have 3 vehicles, heavy, medium, or I guess it's called large, medium, and small vehicles, and their helicopters. There in the rule book, it does say, make sure your first game to put the propellers on the helicopter. Mine came pre-assembled. I don't know if that was something specific for the Maximum Chrome edition or if they were all like that and it was just never removed from the rulebook. Down here you have your big rig. So this is a 3-car train, essentially, a big tractor trailer, so to speak, that a player could play. The big rig helicopter and the movement dice. The 4 black pieces up here are the wrecks that can appear out on the board. And then over here you have your final 5 miniatures. Which are the motorcycle miniatures. There's 6 movement dice as well as their helicopter. You have these are called the FX dice. FX. These are the dice you're going to roll to determine what happens when certain conditions are met or certain events coincide. You have the German engineering decks. There's a deck for each player here. The Big Rig and the Final 5 do not have German engineering decks, and these cards are actually in German. You can get that if it'll focus. It is actually in German, all these cards, so don't be like me, and when I opened them up and started going through them and they were all in German, I was like, oh crap, they sent me the wrong language deck for this card. It is all in German. It is essentially instead of using dice, you can use a deck, I believe, is how it's been described for your movement. Then you have all your minor damage tokens over here. These are for the Final 5 and the Big Rig players. We'll put this back on here. And we'll set this one aside. Next tray is you have the Big Rig dashboard here. Then you have the Final 5 motorcycle dashboards here. You have the 4-player color dashboards here. So you have the main dash, or the command ability tile, and then you have a tile for your medium, large, and small vehicles, and those all fit nice in there like that. You also have the fire tokens, so one of the expansion adds the ability for things to go on fire, as well as the end. So this is the end of the road tile to indicate when you're coming up on the end of the game, essentially. So that fits in there like that. Everything fits very nicely in these inserts. There is they did do a video, Restoration did do a video on where everything goes, but it's fairly self-explanatory for the most part. The icons and everything are kind of molded into the plastic tray, so that's good. All right, so we'll go to the next one. The next tray is where you're going to have all of your hazards. So these are the hazards that all get shuffled. These are the blanks that go with one of the expansions. They're just sand tiles. Those all kind of fit in there. And then you have two tiles that are blank. They're hazards on one side, but they're blank, so you could kind of come up with your own hazards if you wanted. And then these are all the hazards of the base game and some of the expansions. I kind of have them separated out by, these are all base. I think these are all base. And maybe one of the expansions. This is another expansion. This is one of the expansions. It has a separate icon on the back. Oh, it's the Chop Shop expansion that those come with. Then you have your these are your damage tiles. Those are here. These are special expansion damage tiles, and then these are the base game damage tiles. These are what your car is going to get when you take damage. So if something causes you to take damage, you will draw one of these at random, flip it over, do the effect of what it says, and then it gets flipped over. If you ever take a second damage, that car is essentially inoperable, so you can't take turns. It stays out on the board. You can't take turns with it unless you use a command action that has a repair. Then it allows you to remove one of the damages off of it, and it becomes operable again. In here we have the Chop Shop upgrade cards. This is an expansion, so these are the upgrade cards for that expansion. And then you have the extra damage ability cards. This adds a little more. I think these are the ongoing damage effects. A couple of these tiles say ongoing. You draw an ongoing damage effect card. Then you have the deck of cards that is all of the extra cards. I forget what this expansion was called. Here's the backs. But those all go in the center. You have the extra or bonus hazard symbols here. Here are all the leader boards. These would replace your center command board if you want to play with them, but they all have their own special ability and different things that they can do. Your command tokens to activate some of their abilities are here. The command tile for the motorcycles for the final 5 is here, and the hydraulic steering for the big rig is here, down here as well. Those fit like that, and then those just go right over top of it like that. So that's that, and then we'll pull this one out. And then the bottom tray is the actual map board. So this fits all the map boards plus the expansions. And the chapter 1A is the parking lot. This is where you start. The other side is the runway to ruin. This is the alternative starting tile. But essentially you're going to have 3 of these tiles out on the board at once. They kind of go in together like that. And then you're going to have a third one off to the side. And when you get to the third tile, or try to move off of the third tile, the back tile will go away. Any cars or anything that's on that tile is gone, eliminated from the game. That tile is then flipped over, put under the stack of map tiles that are under there, and play continues on until end game conditions are triggered. And then that's when you would put the end of the line or the finish line tile out on the end of one of these tiles. And it's basically two ways to win. You can be the last person alive. You've eliminated all your opponents, or the first to cross the finish line. And you can see there are quite a lot of these tiles. So there's quite a few, for quite a bit of variety there. And they all seem to go in there very nicely. Very nicely indeed. So that is, I'll put all this back in here. Everything fits together. Put this on top of that. I always put my rule book on top, but you could probably lay it on top of the boards if you wanted. But that is the Thunder Road Vendetta Maximum Chrome Edition from Restoration Games. Really looking forward to playing this game. It seems there is a bit of randomness to it, so if you're one of those people who doesn't like a lot of chance in your games or a lot of randomness in your games, you're probably not going to like this. However, if you don't mind that sort of thing, it's going to be crazy fun, ridiculous Mad Max, blowing up other cars, that type of stuff. You can even blow up your own cars, and that, accidentally, obviously, but it can happen. The other thing I should note is it did the Maximum Chrome Edition, or actually I don't know if these are the card sleeves. I don't know if those came with the Maximum Chrome Edition or if I got it separate, but there is a set of card sleeves, and supposedly the insert can handle the sleeve cards, so I still need to do that, but that is Thunder Road Vendetta. Thanks for watching.